Do you want to improve in a professional area? Then find an expert and work on these three areas: fundamentals, assessments, and practice. Welcome to Great Transition Strategies Monday Morning Stand-Up. 5 minutes to get your week off to a great start and potentially give you something to help make you a more effective leader so you can love what you do. An expert. Why do I need an expert? Is there an area that you've wanted to improve and tried to do it yourself? Did it take you longer than you expected, and was it frustrating for you? That's why you get an expert, because you want to remove that frustration and you want to accelerate your path to get where you ultimately want to go. All right, as an executive coach, I get folks that come to me all the time, frustrated, trying to improve in an area. And here's two areas that I get all the time. Number one is delegation. How do I delegate? I don't feel I'm doing a good job with it. Second one, communication. I don't communicate up well with my colleagues, subordinates, complex, confrontational meetings. They're working on those areas. So they come to me and they want some help to get there. So think about yourself. What is an area that you really, really want to improve? Okay? Put it in your head and hold it. I'm going to give an example. I'm going to use a delegation example to walk through the three areas I gave you and see how you can put together a bit of a plan for you to move forward so you can improve professionally the way you want to. Okay, so let's get going. First one, fundamentals. So get an expert. You have an expert who's going to help you. That could be a coach, that could be a mentor, that could be some other area of expertise, someone to help you through this point in time. All right, so you have it. Fundamentals. With your expert, determine what are the fundamentals you need to master to improve in this area. So delegation what comes to mind for you? Delegation, you think right away, how do you assign, how do you decide who's going to get what you're going to delegate, who you're going to assign it to, and how you're going to assign it? Fundamental number one. Fundamental number two, how are you going to keep track of it as it goes along? How do you keep track of your delegated tasks as they move along? That's number two. Number three, how do you evaluate at the end? So there's three right there. There's three fundamentals you need to come together with. You and your expert define. These are the fundamentals. Here's the level of performance that we need for each one of them. Come together, decide on it, and be very specific on it. So that's first. When you think about these fundamentals, let me add this other thought. When you get good at, when you master the fundamentals, they happen automatically. They're right there all the time. You always have them at your grasp. Sometimes we do well without mastering fundamentals, and then we hit a ceiling. So we have to go back, relearn those. Learn the fundamentals now, so that way they're second nature to you. Okay, so that's the first one. So now hopefully you thought about yours. Number two, assessments. Assess where you are in regard to those fundamentals. Work with the expert you're working with and assess yourself. And something interesting I found here is folks will get to that and they'll realize, oh, I'm not as bad off as I thought. I'm actually in pretty good shape. It might be just some tweaks, incorporating a best practice, a little more discipline, maybe a little more timeliness on some things, and you're there and you've mastered that fundamental. But now you have an expert with you. You have someone very objective with an objective point of view to assess you and help you work through that together. You have a partner. Okay, last one, practice. Taking action so that way you can master what you need to here. So that way you can in fact get better. So practice, be specific. I am going to practice this. And you might end up with 6, 8 fundamentals. It's very likely you're never going to do more than 3. Usually just 1 or 2. Hey, I'm going to work on this number 1 fundamental, or just these top 2. Be very specific about what you're going to do, what the actions are. Set a specific time frame that you're going to work on them, and how you're going to evaluate them. So when you think about those 3 things, you just put them in a cycle. Specific action that you're going to do, time frame, evaluate. Now you can get the feedback. How are you doing? Are you making progress? What do you need to change to get better? And you just work through that process with the expert that you're working with. That way you can make the progress you need. So if you want to improve, you have an area of professional improvement you want, think about getting an expert and working through these. Master the fundamentals, assess where you define what you need to master, assess where you are, and then practice and iterate that till you get where you want to be. Thanks for listening. Hope you found that helpful. I welcome your comments. Have a great week. See you next Monday morning, 8:30.